Don't let spring allergies make you miserable. Try the quick, drug-free solution trusted by over 4 million people. Navage. Only Navage uses suction to flush out your sinuses using refreshing saline, helping you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier. And here's even better news. Navage.
Good morning, George.
Morning.
How are you doing?
Fine.
We'll be back with you to talk with you about your run for the Berrien County Drain Commissioner in just a moment. You got to do some news.
Thank you.
All right.
Make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
And taking a look at some of the news from the WSJM Newsroom this morning, starting next Monday, July 22nd, will be a resurfacing project on I-196 in Van Buren and Allegan counties. Michigan Department of Transportation spokesperson John Richard tells us crews will be working on about 7 miles of roadway between Saugatuck and South Haven.
This is a $3 million project, and we will be replacing the concrete joints, resealing the joints, and then resurfacing the whole thing. So it'll be a nice new blacktop, a new asphalt surface when the project is complete.
Richard says the work will mean some intermittent lane closures in that area, so drivers should be prepared. However, unlike the big I-94 reconstruction project that's still underway in Berrien County, this is just a resurfacing. He advises people to check michigan.gov/drive to stay on top of the latest construction information. That project on I-196 starts Monday, and it will continue through November. The United Way of Southwest Michigan has raised $31,000 to support its programs through the latest Rock the Boat cardboard boat races held last week in Benton Harbor. 25 teams raced their cardboard boats in the St. Joseph River to not only raise funds for the United Way, but also to grab the glory. The United Way's Don Hawley tells us with the event held this year for the first time since 2019, the teams had plenty of time to engineer their craft. That meant fewer sinkings than in some past years.
We had so many well-built boats. The people have got this down now, and it was phenomenal to see the creativity, the people that were looking for something elaborate. And you could tell the boats that were built for speed, that they were going to go for it all the way. It was just absolutely phenomenal.
One noteworthy racer who still managed to sink despite years to prepare was WIRX morning host Brock Havens, who Howley said built a boat intended to resemble a rock. And she hopes that he does better next year. Speaking of which, the United Way has already announced the cardboard boat races will be back in 2025. Interested teams can start planning their designs now. We'll let you know when they start offering registrations. The winner last week was Whirlpool, which took home the championship award and the fastest boat award. Also winning were Lake Michigan College and Honor Credit Union. And finally, a vehicle is stolen every 32 seconds in the United States. Last year, more than 1 million vehicle thefts were reported nationwide. That's according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. In Michigan, Automobile Theft Prevention Authority Director Chris Baldwin says nearly 27,000 vehicles were stolen in Michigan in 2022.
Some of that is due to what we call the Kia Hyundai challenge, which has occurred over the past few years. But also, even with the technology that the manufacturers are putting into their vehicles, more organized theft rings are popping up to circumvent those technology safety upgrades, if you will, and able to steal vehicles that way.
Baldwin says Kia and Hyundai vehicles were easy targets for juveniles. He says ways to avoid your car being stolen include not leaving your keys in your car, parking in well-lit areas, and leaving valuables out of sight. Don't give them a reason to break in and steal stuff from your car or the entire car altogether. We'll have more news coming up in just a few minutes. Also, we have our interview with George McManus. He's running for Berrien County Drain Commissioner. That is going to start on the video live stream here. Then we'll pick it up later in the hour as well. You can check out our video live stream by going to Facebook or YouTube. Type in WSJM. and just click on the video and you can see the full interview there. We'll also have it archived so you can go back and reference it later, as we're doing with all of our candidate interviews that we're having during the month of July. It is the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. 71 degrees in Benton Harbor right now. It's 7:07. We've got sports from well, let's see, Michigan News Network. They're handling sports since Dave Wolf is out this week. We've also got the United Way will be giving us more about the boat race. That's coming up in a few minutes right here.
Sports on the Michigan News Network.
Tarek Skubal and Riley Green will take the field alongside baseball's best during the All-Star game tonight in
Okay, all the buttons are pushed, all the video cameras are going, and we're on. Hello, George McManus. You're running for Berrien County Drain Commissioner. Welcome to the WSJM studios.
Thank you.
How are you doing this morning? Right up and close and personal on the microphone, if you don't mind. There you go. Just like that. Yeah. How's it going?
Oh, it's going real well. It's a nice evening last night to sleep. I slept through it.
I can't believe. I mean, I'm a pretty heavy sleeper myself, but a couple of those woke me up, and it was bright constantly.
That's what my wife tells me because she was up. But I slept through the whole thing.
Good for you. Tell us who George McManus is. Please introduce yourself for those who don't know.
So I'm George McManus. I'm a candidate for Berrien County Drain Commissioner. I've been a farmer in Benton Township for 42 years and recently retired. And my son is taking over the operations there, and I'm running for Drain Commissioner.
Okay, well, we'll get to the why you're running for Drain Commissioner in a little bit, but tell us a little bit more about your background. So, farming, maybe a little bit more detail on that. What were you doing?
I grew up on a cherry farm up in northern Michigan by Traverse City.
Okay.
I was there until I went away to Michigan State University, and I studied there and met my wife there. And we decided to move back here with her parents and farm. Her father was getting close to retirement and wanted somebody to come in, young blood, you might say. And so we came in here, and we took over the farm eventually, and we've expanded it. And so our farm is on Napier Avenue, called L.H. Pigott and Girls. It's a vegetable farm. So I moved from a tree fruit farm to a vegetable farm and learned that. A lot of the things are similar. And we've expanded that over the years, and now it's time for me to get out of that business and get into something else.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about your decision to run for Drain Commissioner. You and I have talked a little bit about this. You invited me out to Countryside Academy to take a look at the school there, and we'll talk about why that location. But why have you decided right now is the right time to run for Drain Commissioner?
I've always had a lot of interest in water management. I've done these practices on my farm. I have 3 county drains on my farm, which I've looked over the years and helped manage those. And I thought there were some improvements that could be made in the Drain Commission office. And so I decided I think I have the capabilities of helping the community a lot and serving in that capacity. And so I'm running.
Yeah, what does it look like? I mean, what, for lack of a better term, what set you off to think things can be done a little bit better than what I'm seeing right now?
I have identified a few things that I think we could do better on. Accessibility is one thing, being accessible to the property owners and the residents. Accountability is a big thing. Transparency and affordability. We're hearing a lot about drain costs are very high. This is one of the things I'm pretty good at, is managing money well and spending money wisely. I've done that in my business and with my involvement with the Countryside Academy. So I think I'm fit for this job.
Maybe let's start with that. So you got 3 A's there: accessibility, accountability, and affordability. Let's start with the accessibility. What do you mean by making certain that it's accessible? What is it?
I think the Drain Commissioner needs to be out in the community working with property owners. You have to have only one job to do this. You have to devote yourself to it. You can't be carrying on another career at the same time. And this would be my only job. So I stopped my previous career.
Yep.
And so I have the time to do that. And being accessible, and you make a phone call, get a call back. If you get a visit, back, get the job done, get results, complete the work. That's accessibility.
Okay. And you're saying that the current drain commissioner not as accessible.
I would like to see more accessibility. And
Okay.
I think residents I talk to are saying the same thing.
Okay. I was gonna ask, so where does that information come from? You're saying you're hearing it from others.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about the accountability. What are you looking at there?
Well, accountability, being able to pass the audit. There's been some problems with that. Drain office gets audited. That's finally getting straightened out. But audits are something I'm used to. Being with Countryside Academy, I think I've been through 29 of those now. Get audited every year, and those have to be prepared for. Don't do it myself personally, but I make sure it gets done. So that's one of the things. Transparency goes with accountability. What you say has to be accurate, and that's very important. You don't not misleading, and so that's accountability.
Okay. And then on the affordability, now one of the stories that we've talked about is the Tanner Creek lawsuit with Eagle, between the Drain Commission and Eagle. And Chris Quatrin, who's the incumbent for Drain Commissioner, he was here on the morning show and was interviewed, and there had been news accounts, including on WSJM, that the estimated cost of the lawsuit was around $700,000. Mr. Quatrin said that it's closer to somewhere in the $400,000 range. And Brian Doucette with the county commission said that, corrected the record and said it's over 600,000. I think he said a number in the $630,000 range of the legal fees that have accumulated to date regarding the Tanner Creek drain issue and that lawsuit with Eagle. We've talked about this briefly. What is your concern there? What does that mean for taxpayers, for customers of the drain district, and what would you do about it as drain commissioner?
Well, first of all, the accurate number is going to be the one that comes from the county, because that money is sourced from the county, so they know what is going out for that project. So that's an accurate number. It's $671,000.
Thank you.
So that's the right one. So if we're going to be accountable, we should give the right information.
Yep.
That's the right number.
Absolutely.
It's not even near $400,000. So it's
$671,000, and that aligns with what we've heard as well from Brian Doucette.
Yes, and there'll be more coming because it's been appealed. So there'll be more attorney's fees working on that.
But what does that mean? What does that mean? So we throw numbers out there, but what does that mean for customers of the drain district or taxpayers in Berrien County?
The way that has to be paid back is that the suit was brought in the name of a drain district, so, or maybe more than one district, and so the people in that district will have to pick that up. So that'll be assessed back to them for legal charges. And I would have handled it differently. It just seems odd that a small drain commissioner office in a small county in Southwest Michigan would sue the state of Michigan. It'll be an uphill battle. Whether even if you win or lose, you still have those attorney fees.
Mm-hmm.
And that's expensive, and it doesn't get anything done in terms of fixing drains. It's just an expense.
Yeah. We're talking with George McManus. He is a candidate for Berrien County Drain Commissioner. You've been farming for how long?
Well, here 42 years, but I started when I was 5-6 years old up north. So I've been farming all my life.
Talk about your family, if you wouldn't mind, and our feelings, thoughts, and prayers go to you and your family. You lost your father 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, we had a large family. I have 8 siblings, so there are 9 of us in our family, and we all lived there on the farm, and it was 400 acres of cherries, and all went to the same school, Traverse City St. Francis. If people understand, that's kind of a special school up in northern Michigan, and we learned a lot from Dad. And the Dad was 93, and he passed away. Lots of advice, a lot of sayings that he had that stick with you.
Yeah.
One of the sayings I'll never forget is, He said, "Don't believe everything you hear." So that's a good one.
I like that one. I like that one. Any cherry sayings?
No, not really. I don't think there's any cherries.
And nothing with the pits.
No.
All right.
No.
Life is a bowl of cherries.
Yeah.
Why do I get the pits? That can Irma Bombeck.
That was probably a different George.
Okay. Very good. All right. Well, we'll George Washington with the cherry tree, which he didn't cut down.
Right.
Anyway, all right. We're talking with George McManus. We're going to come back in just a couple of minutes. Actually, before we do that, you mentioned you went to St. Francis up in Traverse City, but you have a deep background with local schools here as well. Why don't we talk a little bit right now about Countryside Academy? What is Countryside Academy for people who don't know?
Countryside Academy is a Michigan charter school. It's located in Benton Township out on Meadowbrook Road, about 5 miles east of Benton Harbor. And the theme of that school is food, agriculture, renewable resources, and environment. And it was started by 6 farmers. We sat down for lunch one day, and when the charter school law took effect, and we decided we could do this. And so we did it. It was quite a bit of work.
I mean, that I think very few people probably wake up and think, "Hey, we need a new school. We're going to start one." How did this all come about?
Well, so in agriculture, we always have this desire to let people know what agriculture is, because as we move along in history, people get further and further away from the farm. So we might be 2 or 3 generations. So kids don't know where their food comes from, and so forth. So it's always been something that different farm groups are promoting. Let's talk about that. So we have a curriculum based on that. Covers everything from nutrition to plant science and animal science, and it goes on and on and on. It's a very round curriculum that we have. It's very broad.
How many students?
750 last fall. It'll go up a little bit. We just built an elementary school, so we have a little more space. So it'll probably go up another 25 or so.
Okay. And some of the special programs that are out there that you invited me out to take a look at it, that I saw that you have aviation as well. And talk maybe just a little bit about why that's there.
We have career technical education programs. We have 2 of the programs there. Those are countywide programs run through RISA, or run with RISA. And the aviation is at Countryside, and the agriculture science is at Countryside, those 2 programs. So we own an airplane. It's down at the Benton Harbor Airport, and our students are able to study aviation, and at times they go up in the plane with a instructor, and they do a little bit. It's not flight school, but they spend some time in the airplane.
Yeah, it's the foundation. It's the foundation for it. And setting up that program, setting up the school altogether, it was not an easy task, and it was delayed because of legal considerations. Maybe talk a little bit about that and how you were able to work through that.
Well, back then, Benton Harbor Area Schools were in a desegregation situation with the federal court, and so the question was raised: would we interfere with that? So it took a year to go back to federal court and prove that we would not interfere with that, and the judge agreed, and so we were just delayed a year. We were chartered in 95, but we couldn't open until 97 with students, and so that's what we did. It was a little delay.
And what was the fear that about?
It really wasn't anything to do with Countryside, because it was new and it was not part of that. But the state of Michigan was a defendant in that. And so the state of Michigan didn't want to fund it and then be in violation because they funded the school. They just wanted to make sure that the court approved. So they went through the process and did that.
Okay. We're continuing our conversation with George McManus. He's running for Berrien County Drain Commissioner. We'll come right back and spend more time with him. We also have the Bloomberg Report coming up on our radio program. That is next. We'll be right here on WSJM.
Just that peace of mind of knowing I am covered.
If you're going to pay the money, pay the insurance premium, it should help you sleep better at night.
IMS, an auto owner's insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles.
We're watching over you. IMS Insurance Management Service.
News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM and Berrien County Veteran Services make summer ultimate with a chance to win an incredible backyard prize package that could make yours the envy of the neighborhood. It's the ultimate summer giveaway. Our awesome prize package includes a premium series 6-person hot tub from Pristine Pool and Spa, a 13 by 13 gazebo patio tent, 7-piece wicker patio furniture set, and complete outdoor entertainment system. The ultimate summer giveaway is sponsored in part by the Center for Growth and Independence, Lakefront Roofing and Exteriors, Aiden's Landscape Supply, Ender's Auto Repair, and Pristine Pool and Spa. All summer long, we'll tell you when to visit our website to register. The ultimate summer giveaway is presented by Berrien County Veterans Services and News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM. Contest dates and rules are on our website, WSJM.com.
Who do you call when you have the most unique
All right, we're continuing on the video live stream. We'll just dip in here for a quick second. The Bloomberg Report is going to play, and then we'll come back to the show. We're talking with George McManus. He's running for Berrien County Drain Commissioner. And so what does it look like when the drains fail?
Well, flooded basements, flooded backyards, farm fields that either can't get planted or worse yet, they get planted, then they can't get harvested. That's even more expensive. All those things can happen if drains fail.
And it's the drain commissioner's responsibility to see that they don't.
To the best of their ability. Obviously, things are flooded this morning because of all the rain. That's not really a drain commissioner's problem. When you get a large rain like that, water should go away, though, in a relatively short period of time. But some of that's going to just happen. As long as it drains away in a day or so, then it's fine.
Okay, we'll talk more about the drain commissioner race in just a moment. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
Starboard Value has built a big stake, according to the Wall Street Journal, in the online dating company, and it's pushing Match to sell if it doesn't manage to improve growth and profits. Starboard particularly wants to see improvements in Tinder. That represents more than half of Match's revenue. Starboard is the third activist investor to take a stake in Match this year. On Wall Street, small moves this morning as investors wait to see what the June retail sales picture looks like. S&P futures right now are up 7, NASDAQ futures up 41, Dow futures falling 33 points. Joan Doniger, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
72 degrees in St. Joseph right now. Dowagiac 69, South Haven 70. And it's going to be a beautiful day. We can already see the sun is starting to poke out, and that's payback for what we got last night, which was nothing but a whole lot of storms. And there were tornado warnings, tornado watches in parts of our region, the same system that spawned some tornadoes in Chicago at Midway and O'Hare. Thankfully, no injuries reported there. Came over here and gave us a light show and a lot of wind and power outages and that kind of thing. Indiana Michigan Power is trying to make progress on restoring the power in a lot of different areas. Right now, they're still reporting about 23,000 customers without power in Southwest Michigan and in Northern Indiana. We're continuing our conversation with George McManus. If you've not been joining us on the video live stream, that's where we're doing the introduction here. And George is running for Berrien County Drain Commissioner. Who would have thunk? And I asked the same question to the person who's currently holding the office. Who would have thought drain commissioner was such a controversial role? Because the race is really hot. You've got 3 people in the race right now. Why is there so much attention on drain commissioner, George?
I think because it affects so many people locally, and you hear about it. Of course, I run in the agricultural areas a lot, and it affects growers immensely.
Yes.
Doing some campaigning.
How does it affect growers? For those who weren't listening to the live stream, what happens? What does it look like when a drain system fails?
When a drain system fails, sometimes what happens is a lot of the agricultural areas the fields are tiled, which means they have underground drainage in them, but they outlet into a county drain. If that county drain fails, then the water level in that drain rises. And then instead of the water running into the drain, it runs back into the field.
Yeah,
not good. Field floods, and then the crop fails. So that's a problem. There's some of that going on in Berrien County. So So drains also fail in subdivisions sometimes, and so you'll see the ground get saturated, and basements eventually start to get water, get leaks in them that maybe they weren't there before.
And how does a drain commissioner approach their work?
Well, the way I would approach work is to maintain the drains. That I think is the job of the drain commissioner. Maintain the drains that we have. They're put there for a reason. If they're functioning, then you won't have the problems as if they don't. So it's kind of like a car with a flat tire. You can ride on the flat tire. You're just going to have more problems down the road. You stop and fix the flat tire. The car will function better, and it'll be cheaper in the long run. So maintenance is a big thing. If we can maintain drains, and it's been kind of, I think it hasn't been the focus lately.
What do you point to back that up?
What do I point to that hasn't? Well, my own experience, I can see it. I have one on my farm that's that way, but other growers have told me there's problems. I haven't had a crop failure on my farm, but another grower has told me he has, and described what's going on, and I know what it is.
Yeah. So once the problem has been identified and an area to be cleaned out has been identified, what happens next? And do you believe that's happening now?
Some places it is, yes. I think there's more to be done. More attention needs to be paid to it. One of the problems we have is it goes back to this emerald ash borer, which is an insect that killed a lot of the ash trees.
Mm-hmm.
Those ash trees are now falling over. Some are falling into drains, into open ditches, and then that holds back debris that's coming down that might otherwise flow through, and it creates a dam which backs it up. So that has to be brought out of there. That's a big problem, I think, in the county. I've seen some places where a drain may have been 12 feet wide, but now it's 20 feet wide because the blockage in the middle of the drain from the down tree caused water to go outwards and erode the banks. So that gets into clean water issue because that's how phosphorus travels down. The soil holds the phosphorus. So phosphorus moves with the soil. So if the soil moves downstream towards the river, towards the lake, that's where the phosphorus comes from. It doesn't move by itself with water. It moves because it's attached to soil particles.
Okay.
Nitrogen's different. Nitrogen goes wherever water goes. So, but a lot of the problems we have with pollution in the lakes and rivers is from soil itself, but has the phosphorus attached to it.
Okay. We are continuing our conversation with George McManus. He is running for Drain Commissioner in Berrien County. We'll continue that conversation in just a few minutes. We're going to get the latest news from ABC and then our local news and sports and the state news from Michigan News Network in just a moment. Currently, we're looking at mostly cloudy skies. We do have some sun poking out right now. We're going to see a high today, probably around 82 degrees. Winds from the southwest, 10 to 20 miles per hour, so still clearing that out. Then tonight, partly cloudy skies, a low around 65. The north winds about 5 miles per hour. And then tomorrow, decreasing clouds, only a 20% chance of showers, highs around 78, and northwest wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. The extended forecast looks incredible. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, we're going to see sunny to mostly sunny skies. Highs in the mid to upper 70s the first part of that, and then in the lower 80s the second part of that. So your weekend is looking really good. The latest news from ABC. You're listening to the WSJM Morning Show. Thank you.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The Republican National Convention continuing in Milwaukee. Former President Donald Trump announcing his running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, and making his first appearance at the event with a bandage on his ear following the assassination attempt. ABC News Chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl says the convention itself has taken on a different tone since Saturday's shooting.
This convention yesterday was unlike anything that I have seen in the 2024 Trump campaign. I mean, there was no mention of stolen elections, of January 6th heroes and hostages, revenge and retribution. Those have been the central messages of the Trump campaign, and they were entirely absent, at least on day one of this convention.
The Justice Department planning an appeal in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case, which was tossed out yesterday. Severe storms in the Midwest, including in and around Chicago, left nearly 500,000 homes and businesses without power in Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana. This is ABC News.
The Michigan News Network.
I'm Beth Fisher. Nearly 15,000 power outages for DTE in southeast Michigan this morning as storms blow through. There's a flood watch for several counties until 8. Meanwhile, Consumers Energy has 3,800 outages statewide. The U.S. Coast Guard is helping search for one person after 3 people went missing on Lake Michigan. The bodies of 2 have been recovered. On Saturday, an adult and 2 children set sail from Green Bay. By Sunday, the vessel was found capsized, but the people inside were nowhere to be found. A Jayhawk helicopter from Air Station Traverse City is helping with the search. 2 Lansing cops have been cleared of wrongdoing after shooting a suspect and killing him. No charges will be filed against the officers who shot Stephen Romero of Lansing last December, finding they acted in self-defense. The MSP investigation found the suspect reached for his pistol, grabbed it, prompting the 2 officers to fire several shots. I'm Beth Fisher for the Michigan News Network.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is like busy, you know? I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
It's 7:33. Ken Lundberg with the WSJM Morning Show, taking a look at some of the news that we're following in the WSJM newsroom. Benton Harbor City Commissioners have approved a brownfield redevelopment plan for Project T, the mixed-use housing and commercial development being planned for the site of the former Mercy Hospital. At their regular meeting on Monday, commissioners heard from Jill Ferrari of developer Renovare. It's been working with Harbor Habitat for Humanity to construct duplexes and commercial space at 807 Weld and 960 Agard. However, Ferrari said Monday that the project hit a slight snag when contamination was found at the site. So the Agard and Weld parcels were separated and Project T was turned into 2 phases. Phase 1 of Project T is looking at the Agard property, and it will include 24 duplexes, about 28 units. There are also plans for a space that could potentially be used for childcare. Mayor Pro Tem Dwayne Seats said despite some of the changes to Project T, he's pleased to see that it's still moving forward, at least half of the plan. The brownfield plan approved by commissioners Monday only covers phase 1 of the project and will enable taxes to be captured for cleanup. The tax capture for cleanup could be as much as $2.1 million. We'll tell you more about that story coming up at 8 o'clock. And volunteers are being sought for a mural painting project in Benton Harbor this week. Jillian Nadolski with Cornerstone Alliance tells us they're preparing to paint the alley behind Cornerstone offices as part of the Pipestone Alley Activation Project. This goes back to something that was started in 2022 when Cornerstone was awarded a $2.6 million Michigan Economic Development Corporation grant to make improvements in Benton Harbor and in Niles. The proposal was to beautify the alley bounded by Pipestone Avenue, West Main Street, Colfax Street, and Wall Street. So they're going to paint it this week. We'll talk more about that and how you can volunteer coming up at 8 o'clock. It's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. In just a moment, we'll continue our interview with George McManus. He's running for Berrien County Drain Commissioner. We'll ask him a little bit about what he would do with the office if he elected and a little bit more. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
Keeping your wit about you, or at least in the park. Good morning, I'm Jay Reynolds. The All-Star festivities kicking off last night in Arlington, Texas with the Home Run Derby. Teoscar Hernandez puts up 14 in the final round. That left it in the hands of Bobby Witt Jr., who was sitting on 13.
Right-handed hitter Witt, the pitch, and Witt swings and a fly ball. Left center field.
Did he get it?
Do it? It is off the wall. Just to the left of the 410, and your winner of the 2024 Home Run.
There we go. All right, we'll get back to the program here in just a moment and continue the interview with George McManus. One of the things, since you're into the agriculture, you're in the agricultural circles, how is it looking this year? We've had kind of an odd year. Some of the stone fruits, as I understand it, took a hit, the peaches, because of the cold, warm phases that we're going through. How's it looking overall?
It's wet.
This is not a good thing for cherry harvest. The rain.
Cherry harvest is done.
Okay, it's all done.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
thank goodness we're not going to see
Yeah.
any cherry splitting or anything like that.
No, sweet cherries are done.
Okay.
Tart cherries don't split normally.
Okay.
But the cherry harvest is done. But it's just wet. How many times in July does your yard turn brown?
I don't know.
Or by now it's starting to turn brown
Yeah.
because it gets dry.
It's not.
this time
It's
of
not
year.
brown right now.
Nope, everything's green and lush, and if more lush than they've ever been. It's like a jungle out there.
Yeah.
And it's because we've had these timely rains that barely get rid of the water from the first rain, and it rains again. Some fields are too wet. There's ponding in some areas, and it's just from rains that don't stop. And at some point, they'll probably stop, and it could get dry again. But it will be 10 days or 2 weeks before that happens now.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. More on the Drain Commissioner office. When did you decide that you would run for Drain Commissioner? How did that start?
I was kind of coaxed by different people about a year ago to run, but I couldn't do it because I was still farming.
Yeah.
I had no intentions at that time of stopping, so I told them count me out. But we got to last fall, and my wife and I sat down with our accountant, and I said, "Hey, I'm 66. What should I be doing here?" And he looked at us and said, "Why are you doing this anymore?" He said, "You're in good shape. Just retire." And we looked at each other and said, we got to retire sometime. We never thought about it.
Yeah.
And so we said, we took a week to think about it. And we made that decision that quick. And I said, well, we'll retire. And so we did. That meant I had the time to do it. So I decided to throw my hat in the ring, and I filed a couple weeks later. So came that quick.
Okay. All right. And did you know much about the Office of Drain Commissioner before throwing your hat in the ring?
I've been working with different drain commissioners over the years. My father-in-law worked when it was Commissioner Kotyak, and then Spike Bruce. And we've worked with all these drain commissioners over the years. So, I've had some interaction with them. One interesting note, I think 6 out of the last 8 drain commissioners were farmers, or one of them was a soil conservationist.
Okay.
So we have a history in this county of having agriculture representation in the Drain Commission.
Okay. Let's talk some more about that. Let's come right back. We're going to get the weather forecast from Carrie Peugeot and continue this conversation with George McManus. He's running for Berrien County Drain Commissioner.
Around 80, still pretty muggy. Now, as we head into tonight, the cooler air starts to filter in. We'll see an evening shower, then partly cloudy, we drop to 65, and high temperatures tomorrow only around 75. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
It's 7:40 on Tuesday morning, July 16th. Had to double check because I tell you, the storms last night threw me off a little bit. They woke me up in the middle of the midnight about then, and it was just clatter, bang, everything else. And you slept it through the entire thing. We're talking with George McManus. He's running for Berrien County Drain Commissioner. And on the video live stream just a moment ago, you were making the point that 6 out of the last 8 drain commissioners in Berrien County come from farming. And you're a farmer. Can I still call you a farmer even though you're retired? Is a farmer ever retired?
Farmers never retire.
All right. Why is that significant? That 6 out of the last 8 drain commissioners in Berrien County came with an ag background?
Well, most of the drains are probably out in the agricultural areas. Maybe more of the square miles of land that's drained is probably agricultural. Of course, there are drains in the residential areas and business areas. There's drains all over the place.
Right.
Drains were initially put in to drain land for agriculture. So I think farmers have a connection to drains. I mean, all our farms connect to drains. We have to manage the water in our fields before it goes into the drains. I've gotten awards for those conservation practices that we do on farms. So it's just something that's, I guess it's in our blood. It's natural to us. We're always managing water. You do that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, water for growing, water for harvesting, getting it all out of there.
Or getting rid of water,
Right.
So you can grow and harvest.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you hearing out there when you're talking to people about your campaign?
It's very positive. A lot of encouragement. People I talk to are concerned. Well, I knock on a lot of doors, so I've talked to a lot of people. I've knocked on a lot of doors.
Okay.
I've been 11 weeks now knocking on doors, and I talk to a lot of people. And it's anything from, can you help me with this problem? Come here, I'll take you to my backyard and show you. And they take me back there and say, well, where's this water coming from?
Yeah.
And I've had that happen on several occasions. And in fact, I've got an appointment tomorrow at 9:00 to go talk to somebody about where they were. And I went to one yesterday when there was a problem down in Sawyer.
Yeah.
The guy wanted to talk about his problem in his business. And so we talk about it. And I like to look at different solutions to problems. And I think being very cooperative with residents. I know the Drain Commission it's an independent government. You're on your own. You only answer to your voters. Your county commission does not have direction over the Drain Commissioner. It's on his own. But that doesn't mean you can't cooperate. I think you get way more done if you cooperate and communicate. I'm hearing this from growers too. If we could communicate, we could maybe get something done, which would be cheaper. I think in a lot of cases, the farms have gotten bigger, less farmers, but bigger farms. The land is still being farmed by somebody. And these growers, when they got bigger, they bought more equipment and bigger equipment. And some of them have excavators and they clean their own drains. They just need to be allowed to do it because you can't do it unless you have permission. Some cases you can't get permission. And I think that's an area where I think we're missing an opportunity because growers are qualified to do that work. They can have some assistance and make sure from the Drain Commissioner how the work gets done. There's a way to do it, a proper way to do it. And I think it would help everybody and save everybody money.
Yeah. We're talking with George McManus. He's running for Berrien County Drain Commissioner, and he's been telling us about his background and his thoughts on the Drain Commission office itself. But if you're elected to be Drain Commissioner for Berrien County, what would be your plan? What are your goals? What direction would you go with this?
Well, one of the things I would like to do is get back and focus on cleaning the drains that we have. That's very important. And there's a program that used to be years ago, I think about 8 years ago, it was discontinued, where they had the jail crews come out. And that was a great program because it was a win-win-win. Inmates were supervised by deputies and they would come out and they would do drain projects. They didn't only do drains, they would clean up beaches and parks, and they had other things. They would work in the parks department and so forth. So that was like community service, or it was at least get out of the jail, get some fresh air, get some exercise, do some work, maybe learn something. And a lot of drains got cleaned that way. A lot of this is just brush that needs to be gotten out of there. And sometimes there's tires in a drain or barrels and just different stuff that needs to be pulled out of there. It's handwork, a lot of it. Sometimes not. Sometimes it's more serious. And but why not take advantage of that program? We'll put it back into place. I've had conversations with the current sheriff, and we said, well, we'll talk about after election if we're in. Maybe that's a program that would benefit the community.
So you'd like to see folks who are currently what level of offense would you like to see out there?
That'll all be determined by the law enforcement.
Okay.
I think these are, of course, nonviolent offenders.
Right.
They've had a history of doing this and very successfully.
Okay.
And they're not going to put anybody out there that's of danger to anybody.
You ever see the movie Cool Hand Luke?
No, I didn't watch that.
You haven't seen that with Paul Newman? Oh my goodness. You have to rent that or watch it. Cool Hand Luke. They have the jail crews out there working on the roads.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good movie. All right. But sorry, I detract. So that is one program. What else would you like to do with the Drain Commission? You talk about the independence and the autonomy of the Drain Commissioner. That's important, right? To have that autonomy.
Mhm.
Why is that important?
Well, it's important because water, when it shows up, you have to make a decision right now.
Yep.
When you have a problem, and it's happened in the past with the previous Drain Commissioner and probably been handled well. But you don't have time to go through a committee. You don't have time to ask. You have to be the person that has to go out and straighten this problem out. Neighborhoods could get flooded, roads can be breached, and so forth. So there's one of the reasons. Also on a drain, you'll have a drain, and one person will want to put a fishing pond on that drain, and the other person wants to grow corn on that drain, and somebody else wants to do something else. And you have to make a decision on what's going to happen. You can't have everybody deciding what's going to happen. So that's the way it's set up. It's set up for a reason that way. It's autonomous. But even that being the case, I think there's a case for cooperation, especially with other units of government. That's very important, I think. I'm not a red tape kind of guy. I don't like red tape. I don't even like tape. So when information is needed from the Drain Commission or between any two units of government, I don't think it requires a FOIA. It's not the process. It can be the process if you have to have that. But if the two units just get along, just cooperate, it saves the taxpayers money. It makes more sense to me. I don't know why there's this confrontation.
Yeah, you're talking specifically about what we've reported here on WSJM, which is the Freedom of Information Act requests that came from Hager Township to the Drain Commissioner of Berrien County for understanding of what the invoices they were receiving were actually for.
Yeah, and I can see the reason for it because the supervisor in Hager Township has to answer to his residents for paying those bills. I mean, I don't pay bills that I don't understand. I find out what's going on. We found things that we got billed on in my business before that were wrong. And one of them was a $10,000 mistake, and it was in my favor. So I'm glad we checked it out. You always have to know that's accountability to the taxpayers. And so that's what's happening there. It would be more preferable if a supervisor could walk in there and say, or pick up the phone and call, hey, I need to know about this. Okay, what do you need to know about it? We'll tell you what you need to know about it.
Yeah.
And that should be simple. The FOIA thing is what happens when you can't communicate. That's what a FOIA is for.
Okay. We're talking with George McManus. He's running for Berrien County Drain Commissioner, and we'll come back in just a few moments and give our Moody on the Market update, and that'll be George's opportunity to tell you why you should vote for him. So we'll talk about that and more in just a few moments. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
Got a sprinkler system in your yard? Then you know the benefits. Really green grass, despite the summer sun. Fresh-looking landscape, vibrant plants. But if your sprinkler system needs work, it's time to get creative.
I'm Ryan from Creative Landscaping. Without regular water, the best landscaping plan won't last for long. That's why we offer full service on sprinklers and irrigation systems. Installation, repairs, troubleshooting, spring turn-on, winterizing. At Creative, we do it all. Learn more at creativelandscapinginc.com.
Creative Landscaping and Design, making landscapes greener since 1976.
There are a lot of things out there going viral. Dance challenges, health hacks, pet videos. But you can help keep your immune system from going viral and help protect it from the COVID-19 virus by getting the vaccine. The world has enough going viral these days. Talk to your healthcare provider about getting the COVID-19 vaccine. Sponsored by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services and the Michigan Association of Broadcasters.
Oh, honey, it's our favorite leaf filter trusted pro, Matt. Matt, come in.
Hi, Mrs. Sparks. You wanted me to stop by? Is everything okay with your leaf filter gutter protection system?
Okay, of course, silly. We wanted you to stop by for dinner as our way of thanking you.
Yes, to thank you for that free gutter inspection, the free estimate, and what was the other thing?
That lifetime guarantee.
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Sparks, those are just Leaf Filter's policies. Everyone who calls Leaf Filter gets a trusted pro to come out for a free gutter inspection and estimate. And every leaf filter installation comes with a lifetime guarantee.
So it's not just us?
No, sir. We don't want anyone to worry about clogged gutters ever again.
You mean everyone gets this level of service?
Everyone. They just need to visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule their free inspection.
Okay, but you must be starving. You work so hard.
Ready to love your gutter protection as much as we do? Visit leaffilter.com/radio and get up to 30% off today.
See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us on the WSJM Morning Show. A special thanks to those of you who are joining us on the video live stream. We've been having a great conversation with George McManus. He's running for Berrien County Drain Commissioner, and we'll ask him a few more of his thoughts in just a moment. But before we end the general interview part of this, we should mention that you also have somebody else, family member, a close family member, who's also running for office. Who is it? What office are they running for?
My daughter is Amy Bird, and she's running for Berrien County Prosecutor.
You going to vote for her?
I think I will.
What? Just give us a snapshot there. How does it feel to be the father of someone who very well may be the next prosecutor of Berrien County?
Well, I think that'll be a big job. She'll be really good at it. Her biggest asset is she knows how to work. She's learned it. She grew up on the farm, and she learned job completion and all that. And she'll follow through. She'll get things done. She's no nonsense. People that know her will, and she's trustworthy. So
yeah.
She'll be a great prosecutor.
She call you for legal advice?
We don't talk legal between us. I have my own attorney.
Very good. That's probably wise that way. All right. It's time for your Moody on the Market update. Your Moody on the Market update is brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. And one of the things that we like to talk about with the Moody on the Market update are interesting people that you should know. And given it's our candidate series in July, we are inviting all the candidates in who are in contested primaries. We're starting with a select few because we only have so many days in the month, and Drain Commissioner is one of those races. So George McManus is running for Berrien County Drain Commissioner, and this is your opportunity, George, to tell people why they might vote for you for Berrien County Drain Commissioner.
I think you should realize that I get results. I've done this in my business. I've done this with the Countryside Academy. We work hard, use some common sense, and get results, get things done. That's a big thing. The idea in the Drain Commission that somehow you need to be an engineer to do that job is historically not necessary, and it's not necessary at all. You don't have to be a builder to be a Drain Commissioner, or you don't have to be an attorney to be a Drain Commissioner. You have to be an administrator to be a Drain Commissioner. You have to be the person that puts all the pieces of the puzzle together. That's what I've been doing all my life. I've been running a business and been on the board of a school. You put the pieces of the puzzle together, use some common sense. It's very important. If it was important to have an engineer be the Drain Commissioner, why did we spend $1.7 million last year on engineering? You hire that done anyway. You hire the legal done. And probably those expenses can even be cut if you're careful how you do that. So I think I can bring some common sense to the position. Probably cut some costs. I know I can cut some costs. Been used to that all my life. So I think it'll be a change in the Drain Commission. I think it'll be a positive change, very positive.
Okay. And for more information or to get in touch with you, where do people go?
You can get in touch with me on my phone number if you want to call me.
We can take that number down.
Yep.
Any social media presence or websites or anything?
I have a website, Vote McManus. I'm on Facebook, George McManus for Drain Commissioner. And if you have one of my cards that I'm using that I distribute, my phone number's on the back. And that's this phone that I carry with me all the time. So you won't be calling an office. You'll be calling me. Just pick it up and call. So
All right. And we'll put that number on our Facebook page. And if anyone's interested or has questions, they'll reach out. George McManus, you're running for Berrien County Drain Commissioner. Thank you for coming in today. We appreciate you.
You're welcome.
All right. It's the WSJM Morning Show. We will continue more in just a moment. Tomorrow, we will have Mark Krieger. He is also running for Berrien County Drain Commissioner. That's coming up from 7 to 8 tomorrow morning, right here on the WSJM Morning Show.
You can't feel at ease, wondering if your furnace is going to keep you warm or your air conditioner will keep you cool. Call McGee's Heating and Air Conditioning to feel at ease when you schedule a tune-up or an appointment for service and repairs. Regular tune-ups help ensure your equipment is running efficiently, lasts longer, and helps you prepare for current or future repairs and replacement. If it's time to replace your equipment, McGee's gives you a free replacement estimate. And replacing your equipment with Carrier is one of the healthiest and most cost-effective home improvements you can make. Carrier provides quiet, efficient heating and cooling with innovative solutions, giving your home healthier air and premium comfort.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on the WSJM Morning Show, and another candidate interview in the bag there. We will do another one tomorrow. Mark Krieger will come in. He's running for Berrien County Drain Commissioner as well. And then on Thursday, we'll hear from Roger Johnson. He's running for Berrien County Sheriff. So thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. It is the WSJM Morning Show. We'll be back with more news coming up in just a moment.
Knowing your insurance is taken care of.
Some people try to do the analytical game of,